So, we are going to start a brand new book. Before you say anything, I know we didn't finish Towers Falling, but I promise by the end of the year we will. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our new book, Blood on the River. Now, the cool thing about this book is this is historical fiction, and it takes place in Jamestown. So, a lot of the things that you'll hear are actually things that happened in Jamestown in 1607. So this book follows the life of an indentured servant who came over from Jamestown, and you'll see the amazing story and amazing journey that he goes on. So, chapter 1. In the time of the first planting of corn, there will come a tribe from the bay of the Chesapeake. This tribe will build their long houses on the land of the Powhatan. They will hunt and fish and plant on the land of the Powhatan. 3 times the Powhatan will rise up against this tribe. The first battle will end, and the Powhatan will be victorious. But the tribe will grow strong again. The Powhatan will rise up. The second battle will end, and the Powhatan will be victorious. But the tribe will grow stronger once more. The third battle will be long and filled with bloodshed. By the end of this battle, the Powhatan kingdom will be no more. This was a prophecy delivered to Chief Powhatan, ruler of the Powhatan Empire, by his trusted priests, sometime before 1607. London, England, October 1606. My feet slap bare and cold on the cobblestones. I'm breathing hard from running. I turn the corner. The street is dark, empty. It's my chance. I find the right door under the sign with 3 gold balls. I've carried a rock with me. I slam the rock down hard on the padlock, pounding until it breaks free. Inside the pawn shop is quiet and musty. It smells of old wood and candle wax. There is a locket displayed on a piece of beaver felt. I close my fingers around the cool, smooth silver. I haven't touched it since the day she died. Mine. It should have been mine because it was hers. I pull, but it's wired down tightly. I hear footsteps outside and I panic. I yank on the wire too hard and the wire slices my hand and I watch blood drip. But the locket is in my grasp. You, boy! A man lumbers into the shop. It's the shopkeeper come from his house across the street. He lunges, grabs me, but I'm too fast. I squirm away and run, escape out into the fog, and I am lost, disappeared. I walk along the docks past the dark hulks of ships bobbing slowly. My heart is still racing. I try to calm myself. I listen to the sailors laughing and arguing, their card games stretching out into the night, and I even venture a whistle. Nothing fancy, but just my own tune. The shopkeeper will not find me, I promise myself. When he sees me in daylight, he will not know it was I who wrenched out of his grasp in the dark shop, and he certainly would never guess that I had not stolen anything, only taken back what is mine. It should have been given to me when she died. This was the locket of my mother's. This will bring a pretty penny, they said at the poorhouse. It will pay for some extra food you eat. Can I help it if I'm always hungry? Then they expected me to stay on and keep working in the nailery, keep letting them beat me when they felt like it, as if I wanted to live in the poorhouse, as if Mom and I had wanted to be kicked out of our cottage on our farm, as if the blight was our fault and we wanted our crops to rot in the fields and had planned all along not to pay the rent of the lord of our cottage. But instead, I chose the streets. I'd rather dig in the garbage heaps with the rats for my meals. Who knows? Maybe my mom would still be alive if she hadn't been a widow and hadn't had to work so hard, first for the greasy, fat gentleman who owned our farm and cottage, and then, after we'd been kicked off, masking nails for 12 hours a day to pay our way at the poorhouse. Maybe she still would be alive if she had an easier time of it. Not my father, though. He would have drunk himself to death no matter what. I find my favorite hollow near the London Bridge. Spiked on a pole atop the bridge is the severed head of a traitor, a man who betrayed the crown of England and paid for it with his life. I turn my face away so I don't have to look at those dull, staring eyes. I curl up to go to sleep. For this one night, the locket is around my neck, hidden under my shirt. One night. A sharp kick to the ribs wakes me. This one looked like the one who'd done it, scraggly-haired and scrawny as a broomstick. I am on my feet in a split second. Grab him! I tried to twist free, but the hands close on my arms, my neck. It's the shopkeeper and his burly son. I thrash and kick. They tighten their hold until it hurts. The shopkeeper pulls the locket out from under my shirt. Ah, what do we have here, he said, and a grin shows his teeth. that are brown as worms. "It's mine," I cried, "mine." They don't listen. They talk between themselves as they tie my arms behind me with ropes. The magistrate will enjoy this delivery, another criminal off the streets. The sooner he's hanged, the better. I throw my head back hard, and it hits the son square in the chin. "Yow!" he cries. "He made me bite my tongue." He returns my blow, one swipe with his hand to the side of my head, just like my father used to do, and just like the old days, I see black, feel my knees crumple, and I am out before I hit the ground. Chapter 2. On Saturday, the 20th of December, in the year 1606, the fleet fell from London. Master George Percy. Some would say, I am lucky. Others would say I'm doomed. I escaped the gallows. I didn't get home. That's why I'm lucky. The magistrate mumbled something about having a son my age and pulled me out of my dark cell after just 2 days. He marched me to the orphanage. "His name is Samuel Collar, age 11, son of dead peasants. Can you take him?" he asked Reverend Hunt when he opened the orphanage door. The Reverend nodded to the magistrate and showed me to my bed in the row of neatly made beds. Reverend Hunt is a tall, quiet man with broad shoulders, more patience than anyone I've ever known. He tells me I have a lot to learn about right and wrong. It was wrong to steal the locket, he says. It was no longer yours. It belonged to the pawn shop owner. He says I need to make decisions based on love, not anger. I loved my mom and I wanted her locket back, so I was acting out of love. He shakes his head. "The locker would not have brought your mother back," he said. I know he's right, and I know the real person I stole. It is that I was angry at the bosses at the poorhouse. I was angry at our landlord, angry at the world. But how can I make decisions based on love when there was no one left for me to love? The orphanage was not a bad place, better than sleeping on the streets. Maybe if I had been less of a danger to the other boys, they would have let me stay. But boys started calling me thief and jail rat, and I knew only one way to settle the arguments was with my fist. Colin's nose spurting bright red blood was quite an accomplishment, but I think Richard's tooth only fell out because it was already loose when I punched him. As for being doomed, well, if I'm doomed, then so is Richard. We are the 2 boys Reverend Hunt decided to bring with him to the journey to this new world. Richard is to be with the Reverend servant, and I am to serve a man called Captain John Smith. It is early on a December morning as we walk from the orphanage to the docks. Fog hangs thick and cold. It makes the stone houses drip and the wattle and daub houses look soggy. Richard carries Reverend Hunt's satchel, heavy with his books and Bible and some extra clothes. My new clothes clomp on the cobblestones. My new shoes clomp on the cobblestones. The shoes are too big, passed on from older boys who died at the orphanage last month. But Reverend Hunt says I can't go barefoot in the new world. The new world. The boys, Colin and the others, think we will die there. They even begged Reverend Hunt not to go. But the Reverend explained to them that the importance of the mission. King James had granted a charter to the Virginia Company of London to send men to the New World, to Virginia. The men will explore for gold, silver, and jewels, and for a new passage to the Orient. They'll cut down New World trees and send back to England to build English houses, all to make lots of money, a big profit, for the investors of the Virginia Company. But the real importance, Reverend Hunt says, is to bring the good news of Christ to the native people who live in Virginia. He says we'll also look for survivors from the Roanoke colony, the settlers who went to Virginia with Sir Walter Raleigh over 20 years ago. That is why Reverend Hunt wants to go, but I want to go for the gold. They say it washes up on shore with every tide. We reach the harbor. The sky is gray with morning light, and the place is alive with commotion. Hawkers call out their wares, and I smell fresh-baked bread. Sailors pull on ropes and pulleys, lifting barrels to swing from each ship's yard arm so they can be loaded on board. Officers shout orders, and sailors march up to the gangways carrying loads on their shoulders. Reverend Hunt points out 3 ships that will be ours. Their hulls and scaffolding are newly painted in a rich blue, deep maroon, and a pale yellow. He says the largest one is the Susan Constant. Next in the size is Godspeed, and the smallest, a Pinnacle, is the Discovery. They bob next to each other on docks, and I watch as crates of chickens are carried on board. I scan the throng of men milling about the decks. There are hordes of gentlemen dressed in velvet and silk, sailors in their wide-legged slops, and one very dirty boy selling eels. I wonder where he is, this Captain John Smith. Reverend Hunt said he's a soldier, an officer, not a ship's captain, but a captain in the English military, and he is a commoner, so I don't look for him among the gentlemen. I am to be Captain Smith's page, which means I'm supposed to serve him and learn from him. I don't argue with Reverend Hunt, but inside I scoff at the idea. Me, an apprentice to an officer? I've never been teachable in my life, except my mom teaching me how to read. That I sat still for. But my father tried to teach me smithing, and when I ruined a piece of iron, and it came out came his fist. I won't have some man I barely know trying to beat some sense into me. A man comes marching up, his face flushed red with anger. A sword hangs by his side, and his cape flies as he walks. They're sending nothing but gentlemen, he shouts at Reverend Hunt. By God, who will build the houses? Who will grow the crops? Do they think we can eat the gold and silver they want to find? They expect to have everything done for them, and expect it to be easy. Those gentlemen won't lift a finger to work. Reverend Hunt speaks calmly, lays a hand on the man's shoulders. John, there are carpenters going to, and laborers, and these boys are more gentlemen than commoners, the man shouts. The investors of the Virginia Company were raving mad when they chose the men for this journey. Then, suddenly, he seems to notice me and Richard. Is this the boy you promised me? Which one is the fighter? Reverend Hunt nodded my way. The man, who I think must be Captain John Smith, narrows his eyes at me. I narrow my eyes back at him. I have a moment to study him while he studies me. Not tall, but stocky and strong, curly reddish-brown hair and beard, flashing green eyes. If you beat me, I'll spit in your drink, I threaten him silently. Captain Smith smiles slightly, almost as if he has heard my thoughts. Yes, he said slowly, we'll take that energy you've got for fighting and put it to some good use. He turned to Reverend Hunt. At least we'll have a good worker here. Is that what he plans for me, to make me into a workhorse? I cross my arms over my chest and I scowl. Captain John Smith looks about at the crowd. Where's Captain Newport? He asked impatiently. I want to speak to him about this gentleman problem. He marches off, leaving us behind. Reverend Hunt turns to me and Richard. There are men who you must show extra respect to, you understand? Richard and I both nod. I've never seen so many finely dressed gentlemen in one place. Over there, Reverend Hunt points discreetly with his chin. This is Sir Edward Maria Wingfield, a very high-ranking gentleman and a member of the Virginia Company. Remember who he is. Now take a good look at Edward Maria Wingfield. He's got a puffed-out chest and a strut like a peacock. Wingfield, I say to myself. I imagine him like a peacock, with a big, bright tail, feathers, and wings. Oh, I won't forget him. And there, Reverend Hunt says, is Captain Bartholomew Gosnold. He is the captain of the Godspeed. I already have birds on my mind, so I think of a gosling with a light-colored down feathers to match Captain Gosnold's fair hair. And him, Reverend Hunt says, that is Captain John Ratcliffe, captain of the Discovery, the smallest ship. Captain Ratcliffe has close-set, beady eyes and a long, pointy nose. Ratcliffe, I whisper, and I have to bite my tongue to keep from laughing. And over there is Captain Christopher Newport. He is the captain of the Susan Constant and leader of the whole expedition. Do not forget who he is. I see Captain Smith talking to the tall, dark-haired man in a red doublet. This man's right sleeve is pinned up and empty. I remember the boys of the orphanage talking about Captain Newport, how he was in a battle at sea with the Spanish and got his arm shot off. I would think that a loss of arm would diminish a man, but I see it as not diminished Captain Newport one bit. He nods to Captain Smith and looks around the scene with an air of confidence and authority, as if it were his kingdom. Well, in fact, these 3 ships and all of his men on board are kind of his kingdom. Until he drops us colonists safely to the New World. Now wait here, Reverend Hunt said. I'm going to find out which ship we will be on. Richard and I stand there, but we don't talk. Richard is younger than I am by a year and a bit shorter and broader with dark, serious eyes. We haven't said a word to each other since I knocked his tooth out. This suits me just fine. I don't need a friend. I haven't needed anyone since my mom died. Reverend Hunt turns and says we'll be passengers on the flagship, the Big Bun, the Susan Constant. A breeze picks up. It will be a good day for sailing. Get your men on board, Captain Newport orders. I feel a leap of excitement inside of me. Doomed or not, the adventure is about to begin. Last chapter for today, folks, and chapter 3.